come through, check it out. We them boys that you heard about. Out the bottom of the barrel, punching with a line cross never narrow. Slim chance, my eyes glance to the sparrow. Know you watching. Know the haters want an option. Birth to a style, never give it for a doubt.
Now, how did you guys come together and decide to do an entire project?
You want me to talk, DK?
Yeah, go ahead. You can feel this one.
All right. So me and DK, we met via the internet about 8 years ago, something like that. He had heard a track that I did called "It's Our Year" with I had the DJ Vic Black, who was my manager at the time. He's a part of Gangstar Foundation, and so Preem was in the video and all that stuff. And I guess DK saw it. He was like, "Oh, this dude's he's all right." So he hit me up either email or SoundCloud or whatever. So we've known each other for a minute. This particular project was special because it's the first time we actually did a record together. So we've done a bunch of joints for the last several years, but this one just we were just like, man, it's time for us to put together a full project together. And that's how it came about. It was just more like, yo, let's just do this, man. We've been working together for a minute. Let's just start putting some things together. And that's really where the inception of it came from.
Okay. And what was the process like recording the EP?
Everything was pre-recorded at my crib. I have my own little setup. So I pre-recorded everything here. And I sent the vocals and everything to him. He has a guy out his way called DJ Uncle Fester, who mixed and mastered everything and put the cuts on everything out there in Canada. He's in Canada, right, DK?
Yeah,
he
he just lives down the road from me, actually.
Right.
Literally, he used to live, 15 minutes away, but he actually moved probably a 5-minute walk from me, which is funny.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So it was that simple. I sent the stuff to him, and then DK handled it with Fess, and that's basically how we got it all to come together in that way.
Yeah, well said.
So explain the title of the project, This Is Me.
So This Is Me was basically, to go into that process of it, DK was just sending me beats, and I was filling it out. Most of the time, that's what I do with most of the producers I work with. I get a beat, especially if we're already saying we're gonna do a full project, and I'll listen to a couple of them. I'll start writing the 1 or 2, and then whatever that 1 or 2 is, that vibe is, usually I'll try to stay within that range of that vibe. Even if the beats or the tempo is different, just the vibe. I'm only worried about the vibe of it. So DK started sending me a lot of tracks that had a similar feel. And the idea of This Is Me came literally at the end. Like, we were finished everything, and then I think we were just about to finish the last joint, and I didn't have a name for the first joint. And so when I called it This Is Me, he was like, that could be the album too, because if you look at all the titles, they're all talking about things that are just pertaining to just being a regular person, just stuff about me as an artist or me as a person. So This Is Me just kind of flowed at the end of the day. That's how we came to it. It was pretty natural. It wasn't anything pre-thought.
Okay. Now, what inspired the first single, Effortless?
I'm the type to get tight if it ain't right. All falls down, I'm sparring for 12 rounds, never undercards. Underground with these gutter bars, and never get around the superstars. Crystal Sard, true facade, y'all niggas lacking the culture. If hip-hop dying, I'm guessing y'all playing vultures. You pick the carcass, yeah, we ain't for targets. None of y'all niggas, my niggas, if you a novice. Heartless, get mines off rip regardless. You ain't on my wave, go retarded. Pardon the phrase, I fade and make an exit. But who better than I? That's for the record, check it. Don't trip, dog, we off the rack. How can y'all check it if you ain't got the message? I'm assuming y'all can see me cause the real is back. Effortless, yeah, it's so effortless. Don't trip, dog, we off the rack. How can y'all check it if you ain't got the message? I'm assuming y'all can see me cause the real is back. Effortless, yeah.
You can answer something, DK.
It's your rhymes.
Effortless, Effortless, I don't know. It was to us, it was like, it was the joint that we knew everyone was gonna feel it. I felt like out of all the songs on the album, it was the one that we could engage the most people, because a lot of the songs were really personal, and they had, certain people could like validation, there were certain songs on there that where people could, personalize it, but Effortless was a little more like, I'm just spitting, I'm having fun with it. We got some dope cuts on it. So it was like, that seemed more like a single, because it was just, we could market it to more people.
Okay. My favorite joint on the EP is Handing Out L's.
Yeah.
The beat is mesmerizing, and it reminds me of the 90s. DK, take me back into the creation of that particular song.
It's funny that you mentioned that, because like I honestly don't tend to overthink things. I think that was like really holding me back, like in my earlier days of production. I kind of just like go through my records, get a Techniques 1200 turntable here. I like literally just go through records, and if I listen to something that moves me, I put it in the Logic Pro, and then start chopping up from there, the sample up from there. So once I heard like the vocal sample and like the little piano bit, I basically just, it was just like one phrase, so I just chopped it to kind of make it loop and make it sound coherent. And he rhymes really good on textures like that, so I just thought it was natural that I send it over.
Okay. You mentioned Logic. What else is in your workstation? What else do you create with?
So I have a machine studio here as well. So sometimes like if I want to like really go in and like, chop up a sample, like sometimes I'll pull that up. But like everything, I just find that machine isn't great for actually say like songwriting. Like it's great for like coming up with ideas like quickly on the fly, but it's not that great for arranging, because I just don't like the interface. So I basically just dump everything out into Logic and then track the beat and bounce it out from there.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a Techniques 1200 and like just like a regular MIDI keyboard too, and like a pair of studio monitors. What else do I have here? Oh, the DJ mixer and a bunch of vinyl. Yeah, that's basically
The whole joint.
Okay, so you're strictly a sampling producer.
Well, I can play things as well. I have like a decent like piano skills, so often like some of the stuff that like I do, I just like kind of sample myself, because I don't consider myself to be like a virtuoso or anything like that. But I know some basic chords, and if I like enough to come up with like a quick idea for like 2 or 4 bars, and then just like kind of put it down and sample my own best takes. So that's worked with me too.
Okay. Now, how did you initially get into production?
Good question. I always like music. Like I guess my dad always had music playing in the house, like a lot of classic rock and like some other stuff, like a lot of 80s music, like Hall and Oates. And well, honestly, he used to listen to everything. So that would be how I guess my introduction to music. And beats. Oh, good question. Like I always liked. Well, when I first heard DMX, I think that was the first rap album I ever heard, like a DMX album. And yeah, I really like the beats and stuff like that. So eventually like several years later, I decided to try my hand at making beats, like once I heard Illmatic, because I really like the beats on that project.
Dude, how old are you?
Me?
Yeah.
33.
You 23?
33.
33? Okay. Wow, that's crazy, man. Okay. It's I get sad all over mentioning DMX, man. It's
Yeah. Yep.
Such a great loss, man.
Yep.
I'm not sure we appreciated him fully while he was here.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But it's amazing that was your entry point, though. That's pretty dope.
My next door neighbor was like his parents were American, so he used to like go to the States basically every summer. And like he would tell me what was happening, kind of like this was a big before, I guess, like everybody had high-speed internet and you can just like download stuff easily. So like I remember him like getting the DMX album, or maybe his older brother had a DMX album he used to play. Then after that, I had he got like Stillmatic, which I liked, which then led me into checking out Illmatic.
Wow, that's
And
so
I think the
cool.
Blueprint maybe was around that time too.
Yeah,
So
that was the same time. That was around the
yeah,
same
so I
time.
remember those albums a lot.
That's interesting. So, Justo, what similar question? How did you get into MC, and who are some of your influences?
Crazy enough, we have found out another interview we had did before that DMX is actually a link for us, because it was an album that I first heard when I was about 9 years old. Family friend of mine played, and then there was X album. He had the whole album. He used to pick me up and he would be playing in his car. Obviously, I should have been listening to it, but he was playing it, and but it definitely changed like how I listen to music, because before then, you know, my parents, similar to DK, you know, they would listen to different kind of stuff, you know, the old school classics, R&B, soul, you know, even a little gospel, a little smooth jazz. But, you know, hip hop was like, you know, neither one of my parents were boom bap heads. You know, they weren't like crazy into, they didn't have like, you know, wasn't digging in crates and stuff. But I was always a music lover. And I think when I started hearing that kind of stuff, DMX, Eminem was someone I first heard, Jay-Z, Biggie. A lot of Biggie was played in our crib too. So like I don't know, like those artists, especially DMX, the stories, the vibe, the energy, you could feel like, I'm sure you've heard it. And then there was X. That album has so many storylines to it, so much grit to it, you know, and I grew up in the hood. So like to have that as the background music while, you know, you're walking through the streets and you're seeing what's going on in the neighborhood, it just clicked for me. You know what I mean? So those were some of the artists that really, like, you know, and Nas, Jay-Z, Biggie, they were more guys that I listened to as I got into hip hop. You know, like when I really started writing and doing it myself, because to me, they're like the kings of New York. You know what I mean? Like if you think about the top, you know, artists as far as their brand, as far as how far they could take it, you know, Biggie probably would have been just as far as Jay and Nas if he was still here. So, you know, those guys I looked up to a lot. And they were really like more the guys that I listened to as I got into it, you know, as I got older. But definitely DMX, Eminem was some of the first albums I heard, and I was like, whoa, this is different. This is crazy.
So how old are you?
I'm only a year younger than DK. I'm 32. I'm 32.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys young, man. I'm 45. So like my entry point, really, technically my mom's had like Sugar Hill Gang, right? So when I was a baby,
Right.
you know, I heard Rapper's Delight, I heard Curtis Blow the Brakes, but
Right.
my big entry point was like Run DMC, LL.
Right.
So it's like 85, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah, we weren't even born yet. You know what I'm saying? So, that's how real it is.
Right. Yeah. That's why it's like blowing my mind. Like, man, like I was like a grown man when DMX came out. Like I was 22, I think, when DMX first album dropped.
That's crazy. I was like 9 to 10 years old, something like that, maybe younger. So
yeah,
crazy.
Man. I remember seeing him. I don't know if y'all saw that video clip where Jay was talking about DMX opening for him.
Nah, I didn't.
Y'all happen to see it?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Okay.
It
was from what is that? LeBron James's show. What is it?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't get a chance to see that episode. Yeah,
check it out. It was really good. It was really good. And he spoke about, you know, X opening for him on the Hard Knock Life tour.
Yeah.
And just how good he was, and it made him up his game.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to that tour when it stopped here in Chicago. I guess it was like April of '99. And DMX tore that place down. I mean, it was like Redman and Method Man opened up, and then DMX.
What a show! What a show!
But yeah, amazing. They did a documentary on it. It's called Backstage. Check it out.
Yeah. I love docs, so I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, it was like a year or two after the tour, but yeah, Backstage. And Jay-Z was not all that charismatic, as you should say. He wasn't. He didn't have the energy of Redman and DMX. So it really made him better touring with those guys. But yeah, check that out because his DMX stories are really cool.
Wow, crazy. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's dope.
check it out.
Definitely check
The
that.
shop. On the song "Hold It Down," you say, "Gotta." This rhyme is crazy, man. Got a feeling that we might got next. I'm putting in work, get the white man's checks, bring it back to the community, make those steps. That's the.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was like, whoa, that's the only way to conquer. I don't need no rap. That was so dope.
Appreciate that. Thank you for checking, like really like taking that in. I appreciate
that one stuck out to me. But why do you believe that bringing money back to your community is the only way to conquer?
Well, see, and I'm glad you asked me that because it was a personal take. I didn't mean like it was the only way for everybody. You know, everyone has their own way. For me, I felt like that's how my approach, that's how I wanted to take it because of obviously how our system is set up in this country. It's almost impossible to come into money without having to go through the man. So the thing is, what are you going to do with that money? And that's the problem. A lot of us make all the billionaires we have, all the Black billionaires, Oprah, Jay, they all had to get money from, you know, people that didn't look like them. Like that's how their businesses started, you know, most of the time. As they got more money, you know, because once you hit a certain threshold in this country, you're not dealing with people that look like us more times than not, you know? And it's unfortunate, but I feel like if people bring that money back into their communities, it'll change a lot of the circumstances and we'll be able to help, you know, more people in our communities if we spread the wealth amongst each other and not fight against each other. You know what I'm saying? So it was a layered kind of like rhyme. It was really layered. I'm glad you asked me because it was definitely a lot of layers to it, but that's just how I felt at the moment. And yeah, that's basically what I meant by it. Okay. But it's not the only way. I don't think it's the only way. It's the only way in my mind that I feel like if I want to get the big money, if I want to continue, you got to deal with somebody who doesn't look like me at some point. You know what I'm saying? So just what do you do with that money?
Yeah, that's the key part for me. It's helping the community.
Right.
The fact that you even said that, like, that's dope. How often do you hear that in rap records? You know,
not with the group of guys we got now. Not, you know, especially not in the mainstream. We got a lot of underground, but not in the mainstream. You don't hear it. You don't hear it.
Right, but it's an important message. I thought
Absolutely.
That was important. Even if it was a personal thing, it's important to say.
Right.
Let's wrap up, man. This Is Me. Who is the This Is Me EP made for?
That's a good question. That's a very good question. You know, when we initially came together, I think This Is Me was definitely, we have a song, matter of fact, called For the People. And so I felt like it was just me engaging with the fans to show them a different side of me, like the people who know my music, the people who have listened to me before, and even the people that don't know me. I thought it was a perfect introduction to who I am as an artist. Obviously, DK with his production, who he is as an artist, because he has a voice through his beats. You know what I'm saying? Like people can feel where he's coming from, and I'm just painting a picture over the rhymes. So I felt like it was just an introduction to our connection, me and DK, as far as our music, because like I said, it was the first time we did a full project together. And then also just personally for people to really understand as an artist, like this is where I stand right now. This is everything that I'm talking about, the things that I've dealt with, things that you've dealt with, you know, the people that's listening. And so I just wanted to make that connection. And I think that's where it mainly came from.
Okay. DK?
Yeah, I mean, I think we just wanted to make something that was relatable to people, as Justo said. Because I think he mentioned to me like a while back that I think when he first released projects, and I guess even seen with myself, it's like there wasn't really like a personal, like nobody knew who I was, like nobody, and likely the same for him. But it's like, you know, as you mature as an artist, like you really get to put your own own stamp on things, you know, and people, you know, will come to relate you with a particular sound.
Okay. Dope. Well, Justo The MC DK, thank you for joining me.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for having us, man. Yeah, go check that album out. This is me.
Word.
Yep.
Peace.
Yeah, we mix it up like the isotope. If you ain't with the shits, then you probably broke. See your true colors, kaleidoscope, and put you in a scope. Where's your hope on the slope, nigga? I don't lean, I stand taller than. Little nigga still got swag, bigger than all of them. I rise, I ride, I take the kick back. I'm black, they scared, they call it dispatch. Big facts, homie, ain't nobody stopping this inevitable outcome. The apocalypse. Stop lips, kill chatter if it don't matter. Let me tell you why I never feel disaster. I was 20 lacking pennies, only me and my moms. In the projects of one check, I ain't have a job.